Okay, so we were going to talk about how I made the audio coming into this video, continuing on from the previous video. And I think I talked about this in a previous, I can't remember which video it was though, because I've made a whole bunch of them now. But just very briefly, to make that audio program, there's a little voice memo program I have. I use an iPhone. It's called Voice Memo. And I just open up Voice Memo, and then I've got this screen, and you just press this button here, and now I'm recording my voice. And if I were playing a chord, or if I were playing a bass, that would all get recorded there. And I can pause it or stop it, and now we can name the recording if I want to, and when I play it back, then in my case I have a little speaker where I'm boosting the signal. That's all. Simple. But that's a great way to practice because, whoops, I just started another recording. That's a good way to practice because you can make a practice solo in anything you want to. Make your own background track. Piece of cake. Okay. Moving on. Or you can use one of mine or somebody else's. We had talked about, we were talking about dynamics. We've got our 4 notes from page 28, or page 29 rather. We started talking about a bend. Let's talk more about a bend. Why would you do that? Isn't that just taking your ukulele out of tune? That's how I used to look at it. I used to look at like vibratos on opera singers as aren't they just singing out of tune? And the reason why I was geared to think that way is because I grew up playing piano where you've got fixed notes, and the notion of playing something in between those 2 notes is like either impossible or just completely wrong, depending upon what you've got at your disposal. So here's why. It's because when we speak, we're constantly emphasizing to make certain that people understand. So what I did there is I'm moving my body to emphasize it. But there's accented notes, and some of them even go up in pitch to emphasize, right? If I go home to my wife, for example, and I say, honey, I love you, there's no pizzazz to it. There's really no emotion in it. And, honey, I love you. And she says, honey, I love you. That would be a really weird, oh my God, I hope she never watches this video. Anyway, if you do, I love you, honey, I do. But what if I say it like this? Honey, I love you. See that little bend? A little bit of an accent. I played it a little louder and I bent it so it had a little emphasis. Honey, I love you. So I did take it in between pitches, but I ended up playing that pitch. So I went from 3rd fret, 5th fret. I played the pitch of the 6th fret where my pinky is over here, but I did it from the 5th fret by, see, I can get that pitch without going to that fret. I can do it like this too. That's more the way a piano would play it. But that's not the way it would speak, and it's probably not the way it would sing it either. If you think of like great singers, though, think of like I don't know who you would think of as a great singer, but think like Sinatra or something. I mean, they're scooping all over the place. As far as like coming in and hitting the correct pitch, like you would think of from a choir point of view, like you have to sing exactly that note. You can't scoop up to it. As a soloist, you have a little bit more liberty. And it's the same way on a ukulele. So if I've got my 4 notes here. So I don't ever just bend to like, I mean I could go and just sort of take it out of pitch by inadvertently bending it. You see that sometimes if you make it like a mistake on chords, if I'm playing, let's say I'm playing this chord and a beginner might do that. So I've got in the middle of an otherwise in tune chord, if I bend one of those, now I have, well, that's a beginner mistake because if you're holding the ukulele wrong, you might make that kind of a mistake. you want to press directly in. But this is one of those things where once you know the rules, now we get to break them, which is kind of fun. The rebellious ukulele player. I like it. What about this one? Can I bend this one? Yes, but it's not always as safe. So the safest pitch to bend in this scale right now is not that one, not that one, not that one, but that one. Bottom string, 5th fret. And there's a reason for that. It's called the flatted third, or the blue note, or the E flat. Between D and E flat, if you can bend in there, and it's going to be safe on this chord, it's going to be safe on this chord, it's going to be safe on this chord, it's going to be safe on this chord. The reason this is so useful is because if you have to play notes that work with the chord that's being played. So you could, let's say, play a C scale now. All those would be good. And then when I go to a G, then would have to play these chords, or these notes. And then when I go to an F chord, would have to play F scale. The problem is that those don't always line up exactly, so you end up with notes that would clash. What's nice about these are, we'll explain this a couple pages on in a little more detail, these are the notes that are left over that don't sound bad, and so therefore they safely sound good, and the one that's safest to bend is that one. Okay. What about a slide? Ooh, new technique and a new note. So we go down to the bottom of page 29, and you'll see the diagram there. We have 3rd fret, 5th fret on this string, and then the next string we have 3rd fret, 5th fret, and 7th fret. Now we have the 5 notes that are making what's called a pentatonic. Penta for 5, tonic for notes, I guess, tones. And I'm going to connect them instead of just going, which you could say, oh, those are the right notes, but that's like saying using all correct English words in the English language and then saying them all completely wrong and making a mess of things, which I've done before. Maybe you guys have done that, I don't know. But watch this slide. I'm going to hold it down firmly, pluck the string, and while I'm holding it down firmly and while the string's vibrating, I'm going to slide. I get a new note. That's kind of cool, right? Can I slide backwards? Sure. So one way I've described this is if I'm going past that note, I'm going to slide. That's like going over a jump. I imagine myself being on like a skateboard going over a jump. Back when I was a kid, maybe, right? Go over the jump, come out the other side. But I also can remember times being a kid on a skateboard where I might go up a skateboard ramp. I'm not jumping over the ramp, I'm going to go up the ramp and then come back down, right? Well, this might be like going up the ramp and then going back to where I was before. That's going like up a skateboard ramp. That's like going over a jump. Okay, there's more connection techniques to learn there, but if you get good with a slide and a bend, and you only got 4 notes, now we've got 5 notes, now we're starting to get a lot of possibilities. What if I give ourselves a background track again? We'll see how this sounds with the background. Let's go back to 1 minute, strum 7, key of C. I haven't explained yet, but I do notice in students sometimes is you do need to have a sense of rhythm. You do need to understand that there's a beat going on in the music, and then we need to learn how to subdivide beats. So I'll just play the background track again. and I'll turn it down a little, it's a little loud. So there's beats in here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not going to make a whole video count, but that beat's there, and you have to play with the beat. You can't just completely ignore the beat. Kind of like if you're walking with somebody and having a conversation. If you're not walking beside them, you're not having much of a conversation. After not too long, you drift off, and suddenly it's like, whoa, where did my friend go? They're not there with me anymore. There's no more conversation. So you do have to play with the beat. That stated, there'll be another page farther on in the book, which I'm not going to jump there yet because I don't want to get too far off track, but page 39 if you have the book, where it talks about rhythms and the importance of breaking down, subdividing your beats, and making interesting rhythms, because a lot of people get stuck in that rut. And so you don't want to just go, if your beat's doing this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't want to be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. It's just not very interesting. Like, what if we had a metronome? Okay, so I've got a metronome. So if that's my beat, I want to play together with the beat, but if I just only play beats, it gets awfully boring, awfully fast. So here I'm still with the beat, but I'm not only playing the beat. So I'm still adhering to the beat, even when I take a little bit of more creative path, but I'm still together with the beat. That's important. You don't want to overlook that. Okay, that brings us to the end of page 29. We'll be moving on and learning more notes in the scale in the next video. Hopefully you found this useful, and if you would like to recommend it to somebody else, maybe you know, maybe you don't know who it is you'd recommend it to, click the like button. Or click the subscribe button if you want to see more videos and make our video channel stand out more, or click the bell button if you want to get notifications when we make more videos, which right now, as I've got some time on my hands, is like I'm trying to keep up with a video every day. So if you could do one of those, that'd be awesome. Or send a link, post it to your Facebook, or however, if you think it's helpful to people you know, far out. We want to help them. Thanks. Aloha.